On January 1st, 2025, we will all be getting into a DeLorean and going back in time to 2008. Let me explain. Welcome to HBRV Lifestyle, the podcast. I am the host, the Honey Badger, here to give it to you straight and transparent about the RV business, as well as other things. Now, this subject is going to be very interesting, and it's very important not only to the RV industry, but also the RV community as well. But before I launch, I want to address two quick things. Yes, I am putting oddball Amazon products on my main channel. If you don't know my situation, I will tell you real quickly. I'm broke. But I'm not looking to take money for pay to play with a dealer or pay to play with a manufacturer or anything of that nature. I'm not going to compromise this podcast. Period. End of report. Okay? If anybody wants to call me and offer me advice or shoot the crap, have a off the record conversation, I'll do it. But I'm going to talk about the subject. Right? Every manufacturer is fair game. In fact, as you guys are going to find out over the next 2 or 3 weeks, Forest River Riverstone, one of my absolute favorite products that I've sold, yeah, they're going to get the Honey Badger treatment. So no brand and no manufacturer is immune to the Honey Badger. So what did I do? I did earbuds. I did a nail polish shaker. Pretty soon I'm going to do seats for a car. Pretty soon I'm going to do a connector for cars, older cars, to adapt to like a navigation and Apple CarPlay thing. I need the money. It is what it is. Okay? Number 2, I'm going to address this very, very bluntly. There are a couple, not everybody, not just one, but there are a couple RV YouTubers that either have taken things I have said personally or have made threats to me, either directly or through other people. I have one thing to say to you. Grow up. The few of you that are upset with me because of what I say and how I say it, get out of YouTube. You know how many threats I get a day and how much crap I get from people that I know are dealerships? That I know are RV factory workers? And they talk so much crap. They give me so much just absolute nasty emails, nasty DMs, nasty communications. You know what I do to most of them? Brush my shoulder off. To you RV YouTubers that want to talk crap about me, okay. Enjoy your life. If you really want to hunt me down and punch me in the face, if you really want to run my car off the road, or whatever threat you want to give, okay. That's all I have to say about it. Okay. Moving on. I believe 2025 is going to be worse for the RV industry as a whole than 2024 and 2023, and possibly combined. Look, I've gotten a few phone calls over the last week that are telling me that there are going to be a lot more dealership closures. A lot more. Now, from what I understand, one of the dealerships got a little bit of a reprieve, but it only is going to last so long. California is getting hit the hardest. Now, you guys can call it California and all that stuff you want to in the comments. That's not going to help, or that's not going to help the situation. But the situation's simple. There's going to be per capita fewer dealerships per RVer in California, which was and is supposed to be the largest RV market in the United States, than any other state in the union. pretty much by the time it's all said and done, there's going to be probably 5 companies that own dealerships in California. That's it. All the mom and pop places, all what I call the mid-majors, they'll be gone. Why? Because once again, just like I've said in the past, the RV manufacturers still have not done what is necessary to make this right. Now, how does this affect the RV community? Well, it affects used and affects new. Number one, it devalues your used inventory because now there's fewer dealers that are going to make quotes on them. Fewer dealers in California and across the United States means, no offense this, but they can monopolize how much they pay for your rig. The less competition, the less they have to pay for your rig, which in turn is going to lower the book value, which in turn is going to lower the value of your current RV. We're going to have a massive crash of the toy industry in general in 2025. We're going to lose RV brands. That would be my prediction. My prediction is in 2025, we are going to massively lose factories. It already started. We lost the Forest River factories in California. There are rumors out there that we are going to lose all the RV factories except for Northwood and Outdoors RV in Oregon. Everything's going back to Indiana and parts of Michigan. And of course, Tiffin will stay in Alabama. But folks, the last time this kind of happened was 2008. So we are starting to see, and it's a slow process, but we are starting to see as an industry and as a community, we're starting to see people voluntarily repossess their COVID units. Some of it, yes, is the quality. Very small percentage is quality. The majority of the time, the reason why somebody's voluntarily repossessing both their truck and their toy hauler, their truck and their fifth wheel, etc., is because they overpaid for it in COVID and they can't get out of it. Now, a lot of you are probably jumping up and down. Yes, this is the time to buy them for like 2 cents on the dollar. No. The products going through the auction are supremely overpriced and not getting sold. And they're going back through the auction and not getting sold. This isn't just in the RV industry. This has also been shown to be true about the car industry, the boat industry, the power sports industry. There are a lot of YouTubers, a lot of people going through the auctions, at the auctions, seeing stuff not selling unless it's an absolute screaming deal that the dealer can make money on. Look, the dealerships have the pulse on the industries. The manufacturers of cars, RVs, and boats don't. This will probably be one of the biggest contractions of the RV industry and the RV community that we have seen since 2008 and 2009. And it'll happen even with Donald Trump as President of the United States. Because Donald Trump can't snap his fingers. He can't wave his fairy godmother wand and go bippity boppity boo. Can't do it. There's too many mistakes that have been made that haven't been solved. Now, I told a buddy of mine, because he's down in the dumps, that I truly believe that the RV industry will begin the recovery probably around the end of 2025. If he calls me again, I'm going to change that because I just got some news about several other dealers that are possibly going out of business by Christmas or by Valentine's Day unless things turn around like instantaneously, like they find someone to give them cash. I'm going to say end of 2026. I can't even find a job in the RV industry, not even as a salesperson. I'm willing to go back and be a salesperson. Now, I got to work on the West Coast because that's where my kids are going to be. That's where my kids want to stay. Okay. But even the used consignment dealers don't want to hire a salesperson right now because it's so slow. And it's only going to get worse next year. Three things have not been solved outside of the RV industry that are going to take probably a year or two to resolve that will finally get the industry back on its feet. Number one is credit card debt. Do you know how many people have been paying for food with their credit card because they can't afford food without putting on a credit card? That's our normal travel trailer buyer that has a family of 3, family of 4, family of 6 kids that usually make a $250, $300 payment on a travel trailer and use it 6 or 7 times a year. That family can't even afford to buy bread. But we're still building bunkhouse travel trailers en masse. The retirees, because of their retirement not matching what inflation has had a problem with food prices, they've been going towards the new used market more. Starting to see a lot of used motorhomes. I just got a report yesterday that one of the dealerships I used to work for is having a record November for used motorhome sales. While its competition in its area hasn't even sold 5. Seriously. So, and then of course we have the new laws, and let's be real about the chassis thing. The chassis thing is all smoke and mirrors for the chassis company to increase its prices on the manufacturer. This is all going to come to a head. Everything that's happening is going to come to a head. It's going to come to an arrow point. And when it comes to that arrow point, it's going to be a disaster. There are people in the industry, good people that I've known for 10 plus years, that are losing their homes. Donald Trump's not going to save us. Not in the snap of his fingers. There are things he can do to help. Oh, interest rates are so high. People were buying RVs in 2023 with the same interest rates as today. In some cases higher. It isn't that. It's affordability of everything else. The RV is a toy. The RV is secondary. The boat is secondary. The muscle car is secondary. When you can't, what did they say the other day? 77% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, and now they're living paycheck to credit card. That problem has to be solved first. The credit card debt. We have the worst credit card debt as a nation than we've ever had in its history. Well, there's more people. Okay. How about the other number? There's more credit card debt per household than there's ever been in the history of the United States, and it's not even close. We need to wake up and realize that as an industry and as a community, we should feel blessed if we have a working rig. We should feel blessed that we have the money and have the resources and have the ability to full-time RV, to be a weekend warrior. We should sit back and feel blessed that we're not affected by this. I am. Believe me. I was talking to my buddy Bear on his boat last night, and we had a great conversation. He's selling yachts. He's had like a couple of deals fall through because, let's face it, used yacht sales are not what they were 5 years ago, 3 years ago, even last year. Because even the people that have the money are still struggling. It doesn't mean that, you could make 300 grand a year and you're still struggling because maybe you're taking care of more than one family. Maybe you're taking care of your mom and your dad. There's a lot of cases where I've seen doctors that make $250,000, $300,000 a year or more, and they're broke. They don't own an extravagant car. They don't have a big extravagant house. They have a really nice house and a really nice car, but mom and dad moved in. And mom and dad's medical bills and medical care cost way more than it did 5 years ago. I'm not going to mention their name, but there is a couple that I've known for, I've sold them their 3 RVs. Their last motorhome, they voluntarily repossessed it because they couldn't get what they owed on it. And they voluntarily repossessed it and ruined their 800 credit they've had for years. Not because they don't want the motorhome. They really wanted the motorhome. It's a great Winnebago diesel pusher. Gone. They had it consigned. They dropped the price. They were willing to throw money at it to get rid of it. But that monthly payment was killing them. They had to move his mom and her mom into their house. And in 2018 and 19, when they originally were doing that, it didn't really affect their pocketbook. She told me the other day, while I saw her in Walmart, that she's clipping coupons from websites and newspapers for the first time in 15 years. That they have to sit down at the end of every week and figure out how much money is left. These two people have incredible careers. Well over 6 figures. And they're clipping coupons. So it's not just the poor. It's not just the middle class. There's the upper middle class too that's suffering. So until that's solved, and until the RV manufacturers realize that the high prices they are charging dealers for their inventory is going to ruin companies. Look at Lazy Days RV. Lazy Days RV is going out of business. It's not a prediction. It's going to happen. Camping World, I think, will have a net gain after they close stores and after they buy stores. I think they will have a net gain of around 50 stores at the end of next year. Mom and pop are going to be gone. And you're going to have the Walmart of the RV industry pretty much be the monopoly of the RV industry if something doesn't give. I know 2 of my former employers are on the verge of going out of business. We could wake up tomorrow and get a notification at rvbusiness.com that they've gone out of business. They folded their doors. It can happen at any minute. Any minute now, what I call the flooring banks, the banks that finance the inventory, could simply call both owners and say, you're done. You're not selling enough inventory. You have too much inventory. You haven't made any, whatever they want to call it, interest payments, curtailments, whatever. Whatever the situation is. I've been told by very solid sources that 2 of my former employers could be out of business by Christmas. These same sources told me that Barber RV was going out of business. Boy, 3 months later, they were right. Barber RV announced it. And then was shortly out of business July of this year or last year. Pretty reliable people. They also told me that there are several dealers in Oregon, Washington State, Arkansas, New York, the Carolinas, and Florida that probably won't be around come Valentine's Day up into St. Patrick's Day of next year. Unless they get a big cash infusion from somewhere. And let's face it, Camping World is losing their butt. They are losing. But in the end, they're winning. They'll lose a ton of money this year. They lost a ton of money last year. They're not being profitable. I would be shocked and surprised if Camping World is profitable this year. They will probably have a net loss back-to-back years, 2023, 2024, and I bet you they will have a net loss next year in 2025. But I bet you they'll be super profitable in 2026 because there will be no competition. And beware, I know Funtown RV is having a bunch of fun buying dealerships and opening up dealerships. You better learn from Lazy Days. You better learn from Blue Compass. Heck, Blue Compass's CEO just recently stepped down, according to my sources. And I bet you it was announced on RVBusiness.com. Let's face facts. If this all comes to fruition next year, your RV will take a hit in value more than it did March of this year. That's a fact. So, remind you of 2008, 2009? We're about to go through it. 2025, in my window of prediction, is going to be the worst economic year we've had since 2008, 2009. It's going to put people in very bad positions. Now, what I do believe, whether you're Democrat or Republican, doesn't matter. What I do believe is I believe Trump will get us out of it. I don't think Trump will be worse for it. I think he will get us out of it. But he can't stop it. Because everything he does in the first 100 days, if he does get anything done, isn't really going to affect our economy for at least a year. He doesn't just get to snap his fingers and everything goes back to 2019. But we snapped our fingers back during COVID, overspent on trucks, overspent on everything. I know of stories of people paying $250,000 more for homes than what they were listed for. There's a lot of stories about that. We didn't have to do that. So we snapped our fingers during COVID, took all the money, spent it all, inflationed ourselves to death, and it's taken us down the road of where we're going to be next year, which is in a DeLorean going back to the days of 2008, 2009 during the Great Recession. Until next time, remember that RV stands for toolkit and sense of humor.